The moment Samuel L. Jackson stepped onto the stage of Jimmy Kimmel Live, the audience erupted into applause, their excitement unmistakable as the legendary actor took his seat opposite the longtime talk show host, known for his commanding voice, his no-nonsense attitude, and his incredible filmography. Samuel brought a certain intensity to the stage that night that was palpable from the very beginning. Jimmy opened the segment with some light banter, a few jokes, and the usual compliments about Jackson's most recent role. But something in the air felt different right from the start. There was a tension underneath the smiles, a kind of electricity that hinted at what was to come. Samuel kept his composure calm and polite, but his eyes revealed a readiness, a preparedness to speak his mind if pushed too far. The crowd sensed it and sat on the edge of their seats, wondering what would happen next as the interview began to pick up steam. Things started to unravel when Jimmy brought up a controversial moment from Samuel L. Jackson's past, a heated political statement that had divided fans and sparked debate online. Instead of brushing it off, Samuel leaned forward, eyes narrowing just slightly, and responded with a quiet intensity. He clarified his position, reiterating what he had said before, but this time with an added layer of frustration, not because of the topic itself, but because of how the media had manipulated his words. Jimmy tried to inject humor into the moment, attempting to lighten the mood, but Samuel was not having it. This wasn't a joke to him. This was about integrity, reputation, and truth. He reminded Jimmy and the audience that while he's known for powerful roles and memorable lines, he's also a real person who takes his words seriously. The audience was silent, watching this unexpected shift in tone and tension. Jimmy, sensing the unease, tried to steer the conversation back to safer ground, but it was too late. The dynamic had changed. Samuel was now fully engaged, not as an actor promoting a film, but as a man defending his voice, his platform, his legacy. He called out the entertainment industry for its selective outrage and its tendency to twist messages for headlines. Kimmel tried to respond, but was met with a sharp rebuttal. Samuel pointedly asked why certain topics were brought up at all, if not for ratings, drama, or controversy. He questioned whether Jimmy truly cared about the issues or if he just wanted a viral clip. The studio audience murmured nervously, some applauding Samuel's candor, others simply stunned at the candid nature of the exchange. Samuel was in full control of the room, and he was not backing down. The conversation turned even more intense when Jimmy played a clip of one of Jackson's older roles, edited with comedic sound effects meant to be funny, but instead came off as mocking. Samuel watched the clip, his face expressionless, and when it ended, he didn't laugh. He looked at Jimmy and asked whether it was appropriate to parody someone's work without their consent, especially work that had deeper meaning to the actor. He mentioned how roles, especially for black actors in Hollywood, often carried emotional, cultural, and historical significance, and turning them into comedy without context was disrespectful. Jimmy looked caught off guard. He stammered, trying to justify the segment, but Samuel cut in, reminding him that not everything should be treated as material for a laugh. The audience shifted again, unsure whether to clap or stay quiet. At that moment, Samuel stood up, adjusting his jacket, and told Jimmy that he had no interest in continuing the interview if the purpose was to make him the butt of a joke. He said he came to talk about his film, his work, his journey, not to defend himself against recycled controversy or laugh at disrespectful edits. Jimmy tried to stop him, appealing to him as a friend and guest, but Samuel was resolute. He looked out at the audience and thanked them for their support and their energy, then turned and calmly walked off stage. The audience clapped, unsure whether it was in support of Samuel or simply reacting to the dramatic exit. The cameras quickly cut to Jimmy, who attempted to laugh it off, but his expression betrayed him. He looked visibly shaken, caught between his role as host and the reality of what had just occurred live on television. Backstage, producers scrambled, unsure whether to cut to commercial or continue with the next segment. Jimmy remained at his desk, trying to salvage the moment by making light jokes, but the energy had shifted entirely. Samuel L. Jackson's departure wasn't just an exit. It was a statement. one that resonated far beyond the studio walls. Within minutes, social media lit up with hashtags, debates, and reactions. Fans praised Jackson for standing up for himself and calling out what they saw as a tired and disrespectful approach to celebrity interviews. Others defended Kimmel, arguing that his style had always included edgy humor and that Samuel overreacted. The internet became a battleground of opinions and interpretations, each clip of the confrontation going viral within hours. News outlets picked up the story, spinning headlines about Jackson's dramatic walkout, and Kimmel's awkward recovery interviews with insiders painted a picture of chaos behind the scenes, with producers arguing over whether the segment had been properly vetted. Some said Samuel had not been informed about the edited clip in advance, something he would have likely rejected had he known. Others blamed the writer's room for underestimating how deeply Jackson felt about certain portrayals of his work. As more details emerged, public opinion began to shift slightly, many agreeing that while comedy has its place, it should never come at the cost of respect, especially when dealing with seasoned professionals like Samuel L. Jackson. Jackson himself remained silent for a day or two before posting a short message on his official channels. He said simply that he would never apologize for demanding respect and that he hoped the incident would serve as a reminder that artists deserve more than cheap laughs and misrepresentation. His statement was met with overwhelming support from fans, celebrities, and fellow actors alike. Many shared their own experiences of being misquoted, misunderstood, or turned into caricatures on talk shows, fueling a broader conversation about how entertainment treats its guests, especially those who have spent years building meaningful legacies. Kimmel eventually addressed the incident in a later episode, opening his show with a monologue that tried to blend apology with humor. He admitted that things had not gone as planned and that the show would reflect on how it engages with its guests. He stopped short of offering a direct apology to Jackson, but acknowledged that the moment had sparked necessary conversations. He promised to review how future interviews would be handled and to ensure that guests felt more respected on his platform. The response from viewers was mixed, some applauding his willingness to speak about it, while others criticized the lack of genuine accountability. Behind the scenes, sources claimed that network executives were furious about the fallout, not just because of the public embarrassment, but because advertisers had begun to raise concerns. Several brands reportedly paused their deals with the show, citing the controversy as a risk to their image. Producers were ordered to implement new guidelines for guest segments, including clearer communication about jokes, sketches, and unexpected content. The fallout had become too large to ignore, and the network realized that its flagship, late-night show could not continue without major changes. As weeks passed, the moment became a landmark incident in talk show history, discussed in media courses, entertainment podcasts, and opinion pieces across the industry. Samuel L. Jackson's walkout was seen not as a meltdown, but as a powerful stance, a refusal to be reduced to a punchline for the sake of ratings. He continued his promotional tour with other shows where he was treated with the respect he demanded and deserved. His next interviews were calm, insightful, and free of controversy, with hosts openly praising him for how he handled himself on Kimmel's stage. Over time, the noise around the event began to quiet, but its impact remained undeniable. The industry had been given a wake-up call, and viewers had a new standard by which to judge the treatment of their favorite stars. It was no longer enough to be funny at any cost. Now audiences expected sincerity, respect, and a touch of humanity in their entertainment. The shift in expectations meant that every host from daytime to late night had to reevaluate how they approached their roles and how much they were willing to push for a laugh. Samuel L. Jackson later reflected on the incident in an interview, saying that he did not plan to make a statement, but when the moment came, he felt he had no choice. He spoke about the importance of dignity, especially for artists who have fought to carve out space in industries not built to support them. He acknowledged that comedy has its place, but insisted it must never cross into mockery or exploitation. His words struck a chord with audiences around the world, especially younger generations who saw in him not just an actor, but a leader, unafraid to speak truth in uncomfortable spaces. In the end, the clash between Samuel L. Jackson and Jimmy Kimmel became more than a viral moment. It became a lesson about media responsibility, celebrity treatment, and the evolving standards of public discourse. It reminded viewers that behind every screen persona is a human being worthy of respect and consideration, and it reminded hosts everywhere that their platforms carry weight, their words matter, and their guests are not just content. They are collaborators in the shared experience of storytelling, entertainment, and truth.